وسهلا فيكم مشاهدينا الكرام في برنامجكم اليومي الطبق الدبلوماسي، وكل عام وأنتم بخير ومبارك عليكم الشهر. يسرنا في هذا البرنامج أن نسلط الضوء على العادات والتقاليد من خلال الدبلوماسيين المعتمدين في دولة الكويت الحبيبة. ضيف حلقتنا اليوم مملكته تحمل علم 3 ألوان، الأبيض والأخضر والأزرق. شوفوا ضيف هذه الحلقة بعد هذا التقرير.
رمضان في بريطانيا يختلف عن بقية دول العالم الإسلامية، ثقافات مختلفة، شهر مختلف، وتختلف موائد الإفطار الرمضانية بين المسلمين كل على حسب بلاده الأصلية. فالمسلمون من أصل مغربي تختلف موائد إفطارهم عن المسلمين من الشرق وهكذا، إلا أن الحليب والتمر يظل القاسم المشترك بين الجميع، وتتميز به مائدة رمضان في بريطانيا. تنظم الجمعيات الإسلامية الإفطارات الجماعية في المساجد، وتعقبها محاضرات ثم صلاة التراويح. في هذه الأماكن يشعر المسلمون بالجو الرمضاني الذي يفتقدونه في الشارع والأماكن العامة، وتجد الأسر المسلمة متنفساً في التلاقي في رمضان في المساجد ودور الرعاية الإسلامية التي يقدر عددها بنحو 1000 مسجد في بريطانيا، وتعتبر المدن الصغيرة السعد حظاً حيث تجتمع معظم العائلات في المسجد يومياً للإفطار ثم لصلاة التراويح.
عدنا إليكم مشاهدينا بعد أن شاهدنا هذا التقرير عن المملكة المتحدة. معنا ضيف حلقة اليوم السفير المعتمد لدى دولة الكويت السيد ماثيو لوج. يا هلا ومرحبا فيك وكل عام وأنت بخير.
Very nice to have you here. Nice to be here. Thank you very much for letting me join you.
شكرا سعادة السفير. لنتحدث قليلا عن محطاتك الدبلوماسية قبل أن تصل إلى دولة الكويت.
This is my second posting as the British ambassador. Before I came to Kuwait, I was ambassador to Finland in Northern Europe. A rather different country with lots of lakes and trees and cold weather and snow rather than sand and sunshine. But I've also had a very warm welcome here in Kuwait from the people of Kuwait, which has been lovely.
سعادة السفير، لنتحدث عن كم سنة قضيتها في دولة الكويت.
I arrived in the summer of 2014, so I'm approaching my second year, end of my second year.
No.
That means I've experienced Ramadan here in Kuwait. I've seen the Kuwaiti calendar, and I feel now, after 20 months, that I'm beginning to settle and understand a little bit more about this country.
طيب، بما أن حضرتك قضيت سنتين في دولة الكويت وقضيت أيضا رمضان، نتحدث عن كيف تقضي يومك في رمضان.
Well, it's very interesting as the British Embassy, and I suspect this is true for embassies across the country, because we are here as part of Kuwaiti society and we adjust to Ramadan traditions and the practices like the rest of Kuwait because of our Kuwaiti staff and the Muslim members of the embassy staff. So the embassy here will adjust its hours. We do a shorter day with a later start, and we have an operation that is geared at understanding which diwanirs are open on a particular evening and who amongst the embassy staff will go where. So it's almost like a military operation. We plan each day which diwanirs are receiving guests. We decide where I will go and who will go with me. And all the rest of my team, the defence attaché, my deputy, my wife, others will go to different diwanirs. But of course in London, although we have a very large Muslim community in Great Britain these days, and many of the Foreign Office staff in the ministry in London will be observing Ramadan and fasting, for most of British society, life carries on as normal. So the demands, the requests, the information that they want continues. So we try and observe Ramadan here in Kuwait, whilst also keeping ministers and the government happy in London with the information that they expect from us.
شيء جميل أن نسمع هذه المعلومات. سعادة السفير، في تحضيرات دائما تكون في هذه المناسبة، ما هي تحضيرات السفارة البريطانية لشهر رمضان الكريم؟ وهل يوجد تحضيرات لكم؟
Well, on the point about the history of the British Embassy, of course, we're sat in the residence here. This building this year celebrates its 81st birthday. No. Just a few weeks ago in this beautiful garden, we were celebrating the 90th birthday of Her Majesty the Queen. Yeah. So the building isn't quite as old as Her Majesty the Queen, but this is here from 1935 when it was built. So a long time before Kuwait's independence. And of course, for those of your viewers who know Dixon House, Beit Dixon on the seafront, that was originally the house of the political agent. And it was Colonel Dixon who oversaw the construction of this building and who first moved in. And for the first year, when this was the British political agency, he and his wife Violet used to live in this very building. Throughout the embassy's presence here, both prior to independence and subsequently, we have been very keen to make sure that we understand Kuwaiti society and customs. And as we do across the Muslim world, the embassy will adjust what it does according to Ramadan traditions. Yes. And I know at this time of year, with Ramadan in the middle of the year, with the long days, all our Muslim friends and colleagues are having to fast for a long time. Yeah. And we allow them time to do that, and we try and support them through the working week as normal. But all of us, whether we are Muslims or not, very much enjoy joining in the uniquely Kuwaiti tradition of the Ramadan Diwaniyah circuit. No. Travelling around. My predecessor told me that he had a competition to see how many Diwaniyahs he could go to. Yeah. I think last year my American colleague beat me. I wasn't really counting. I wanted to make sure that I could go and see our friends, to pay our respects, to say hello. And I'm looking forward to doing just the same this year. It's a very exciting period.
إن شاء الله ونلقاك إن شاء الله على خير وتجد نفسك في وطنك الثاني الكويت في بين أصدقائك وأحبابك. نشكر لك هذا اللقاء سعادة السفير.
Thank you, Shuruk, very much. And it's very nice of you to describe it as my second home, because I know how many Kuwaitis there are who regard England as their second home. And we're very pleased to welcome them every year when they visit, when they come. So let me finish off by wishing you and all your countrymen and women a very happy and joyful Ramadan and Ramadan Kareem.
إن شاء الله. Thank you very much. مشاهدينا ننتقل معاكم إلى الفقرة القادمة. حاليا معنا سعادة السفير، راح نشوف معاه أهم العادات والتقاليد لتحضير الأفترنون تي، وهو الشاي ما بعد الظهيرة. هاي.
Hello, Shuruk.
ممكن نعرف عفوا شلون تحضيرات الأفترنون تي؟
Of course. Afternoon tea is one of the most cherished traditions in Britain, but particularly in England. No. It dates back over 150 years. It was the Victorians who first introduced it, I think, as a custom. Of course, with tea that came from India via Kuwait, the East India Company, all those years ago. So there's a connection between Britain and Kuwait for our afternoon tea. And it's developed over the years, but it is now a very popular tradition. The English have a sweet tooth, they like their cakes. And we've got a selection of things that you might expect to see for afternoon tea in England. The sponge cakes with strawberry jam and cream, Victoria sponges, named after Queen Victoria. Biscuits, Welsh cakes, like scones, but with dried fruits, raisins and sugar. Rhubarb crumble, apple crumble and rhubarb with fruits that you'll find in Britain under a sugary, biscuity top. Coffee and walnut cakes, normally a big cake, but this is actually done in a cupcake style. And for those of you, I'm going to come on to these at the end, but those who like something savoury, cucumber sandwiches. Okay. So sandwiches with vegetables in, with cream cheese, and underneath are what they call Cornish pasties, traditional to the southwest of England, stuffed with potatoes and swede and turnips, and they're delicious, very hearty food for cold climates. But perhaps the most famous thing with afternoon tea are scones. They're famous down in Devon and Cornwall, served with clotted cream and strawberry or raspberry jam. And you cut your scones, you put your jam on, and then the cream on top, or you can do it the other way around. But the crowning element, which I'm very fond of as an Englishman with some Scottish blood, is a good cup of English tea. And you can pour that with milk first or milk afterwards. I think the purists would say that it has to be milk afterwards, but some people will put their milk in first. And however warm it is, we love to have a cup of tea.
Yes. بس قبل قليل بس حدثنا عن الامور الشاي اللي هو طبعا له عروق قديمه بين الهند والكويت. يا ريت تتحدث وناخذ نبذه بسيطه عن هذه المعلومه.
I think afternoon tea, and I know you can go to the Avenues or the Sheraton and there's tea rooms here, or Kuwaitis visiting London will go to hotels like the Goring or the Dorchester and they'll enjoy afternoon tea. But it's something that actually connects Kuwait and Britain particularly, because as I said earlier on, the tea, whether you drink Darjeeling or Assam or Ceylon, that tea came to Britain via Kuwait, via the Gulf. And I'm sure Kuwaiti traders, merchants, were trading in tea from India even before the British developed the liking for it. And we've got another dish here.
Yes. Yeah, I was going to ask you about it just now. Yeah. What's that dish you just made now?
And again, they can come in larger forms or smaller ones. But what you have here is a sticky toffee pudding. These are little dainty ones. They're very sweet, but they're delicious. And I think here in Kuwait, because I've eaten it, you often serve something similar. But this is another example, because this is a sponge pudding with eggs and flour and sugar, and caramelized sugar and the toffee sauce. But it also traditionally includes dates.
Oh, okay.
So Kuwaiti dates in English sponge puddings, served maybe with some toffee sauce, but also some cream or some custard. You end up seeing why I'm the shape I am, but that's fine. And so they're very popular, very sweet, but delicious and increasingly common dessert that people will have after their lunch on Sunday when they go out to a restaurant in the evening.
هل هذه هي الطريقة في طريقة تصنيعها في إنجلترا ولا هي خلطة مع التمر قاعد يعني سويتوها هني؟ يعني it's your own recipe or just like it is how it's going on?
No, it is how it is going on in England. So many of our most famous young chefs, people like Jamie Oliver or Gary Rhodes,
interesting.
they will do a sticky toffee pudding, and some of the chefs who I grew up with, people like Katie Stewart or Delia Smith, they will also have a sticky toffee pudding recipe. And it's great, it's fantastic. On a cold, wet English weekend day, you can have your roast beef and Yorkshire pudding, and then you can have your sticky toffee pudding and custard and sit there quietly in the afternoon and relax.
نرجع حق الأطباق الأولى، بس إذا ممكن نعرف كل هذا الطبق الأول شنو تكوينته؟
Here we have, on the right on the stand, we have little apple crumbles. In Britain we have a wide variety of fruits, but apples and plums and pears grow well in the British climate. And so what you will do is you'll stew the fruit, slice and cut the fruit, stew it with sugar, and then you will put it in the oven with a crumble topping, which will be a mixture of flour and biscuit crumbs and brown sugar, so that you end up with the soft, sweet fruit and the crispy crumble topping. That's also very good with cream and custard.
Interesting.
The coffee and walnut, that's quite an old tradition. Again, walnuts are nuts that grow in Northern Europe, in Britain. Coffee, again coming from India and Africa. A sponge cake, but will be flavoured with coffee essence. We'll have ground walnuts in it, and typically we'll have a buttercream icing with walnuts on top. The Victoria sponge, named after Her Majesty Queen Victoria, until last September was our longest serving monarch. Queen Elizabeth has now surpassed that with more than 63 years on the throne of Queen. But a Victoria sponge is perhaps the simplest but some of the most popular of British sponge cakes. It's a straightforward vanilla sponge, but it will be filled with, cut in half and filled with cream and strawberry jam, a bit like the scones, and then just dusted with icing sugar. The Welsh cakes are a bit like the scones. It's made with a lot of butter, flour and sugar, but with dried fruits, with raisins and currants, and then dusted with sugar on top. And then the scones, very rich in butter, they crumble, they don't, you know, and you will serve those by cutting them in half, putting the jam and cream on top, putting them back together again, and we call that a cream tea, an afternoon cream tea because of the clotted cream that goes with it.
من اللي قاعد اشوفه هني وايد اطباق من الحلو اكثر من المالح. هل نبتدون في الاطباق الحلوه اول شيء في طريقه التحضير او اول شيء في المالح؟ بس يا ريت نعرف من سيادتكم.
It's a very good question. There's a free choice. One of the lovely things about afternoon tea is that you can dip a little bit of that and have a little bit of this. But essentially people would expect to start with the savoury. So they'll start with the cucumber sandwiches, with the salmon and cream cheese sandwiches, with the Cornish pasties, and then they will move on to the sweet things thereafter. But you can have the tea all the way through. So you have your tea with your savoury sandwiches, and then you have 2 or 3 more cups of tea with your cake and your scones.
سعد السفير، شكرا لوقتك ووقفتك معنا في هذه الأطباق اللذيذة.
Great pleasure. شكرا. Thank you very much.
شكرا لك. مشاهدينا ننتقل معاكم إلى الفقرة الأخيرة من هذه الحلقة. وحاليا متواجدين على مائدة الأكل وما لذ وطاب من الأطباق البريطانية مع سعادة السفير. Thank you very much وشكرا جزيلا على هذا الكرم.
It's lovely to see you here. Thank you for joining me.
سعادة السفير، بما أن حضرتك متواجد سنتين في دولة الكويت، ما هو الطبق الكويتي اللي تفضله حضرتك؟
I've been impressed with the wide range of Kuwaiti food, and every time I go to a Kuwaiti house, the table is groaning with delicious dishes. But I think my favourite, if I'm honest, is murabian. I like the rice, I like the prawns. It's always delicious.
طيب ولنتحدث عن الأطباق البريطانية، ما هو أكثر الأطباق اللي تحبونها حضرتك؟
Well, we've got in front of us a selection of British dishes. Unlike Kuwait, in Britain when we eat, we don't sit down with a large table and have a continuous. We're rather more British and rigid about how we do our meals. So we will serve people individual portions, and 3 particular favourites. Of course, everybody who's ever been to the British seaside will know fish and chips. This goes back a long way. I think from the days when we started fishing in the North Sea, and fish became plentiful, and the railway network meant that you could take fish from Liverpool, from Newcastle, to people in the Midlands, far inland. And potatoes have always been plentiful. So fish and chips is a real household favourite. It's also interesting to note that during the Second World War, when other food was rationed, fish and chips were never rationed in Britain. So they've always been very popular. If you don't like fish, and some people don't like fish, then British beef, maybe Angus beef from Scotland, or beef cattle from anywhere in the UK, producing nice, often slightly pink roast beef, served with what we call Yorkshire puddings, which are like, they're flour-based and they're fried, and Yorkshire puddings and roast beef, which we have here, are enormously popular too. And then the one in the middle is an interesting one. It's another connection between Kuwait and Great Britain, perhaps, because it's a modern dish that has become popular in Britain over the last 50 years. And it's called chicken tikka masala. It sounds like an Indian dish, but actually you wouldn't find it in India. But it's a combination of masala sauce, Indian spices, and chicken. We had a foreign minister called Robin Cook, who famously in 2001 said that chicken tikka masala was one of the most popular dishes in Britain. And he held it up as an example of how British food, a bit like Kuwaiti food, has drawn on the influences of people around them, of flows of migrants and other influences. And chicken tikka masala is just such an example. So whether you like your fish and chips with a bit of malt vinegar, your roast beef and Yorkshire puddings, or your chicken tikka masala, these are three examples of British cuisine.
نعم، طبعا هذه الأطباق الرئيسية في بريطانيا، أعتقد أنها تختلف في المناطق ولا هي كلها نفس الشيء ونفس الأطباق في كل منطقة؟
I think all of the dishes that we have here today, you would be able to find anywhere across the United Kingdom, whether in Northern Ireland, whether in Scotland, whether in southwest England, in Cornwall, or in the Midlands, or indeed in Wales. Because even if they're called Yorkshire puddings, they're popular across the country. We like to eat our roast beef for our Sunday, our weekend lunch. Fish and chips you can find in seaside towns all around the British coast, but also far inland. And chicken tikka masala you'll find in every curry house and Indian restaurant across the country. So they're all popular, you'll find them all. They may be slightly different in different areas, but they'll be available everywhere.
طيب سعادة السفير، في كل مناطق العالم تختلف أوقات تناول الغداء أو الإفطار أو العشاء، فهل في بريطانيا توقيت معين لأكل الغداء أو الإفطار أو تقسيم الأوقات؟
Typically British people traditionally will have 3 meals a day. They will have breakfast, sometimes a cooked breakfast with meats and sausages as well as eggs and so on. They will have lunch, which tends to be lighter, maybe soup, maybe some fish, and then they will have their evening meal or their dinner. But this does vary across the country. And in some parts of the country, people won't have dinner, they'll have supper, and their dinner will be their main meal at lunchtime. And of course, as we were talking earlier on, there's afternoon tea, so that's a fourth meal. So we have lots of opportunities to eat nice food in Britain.
طيب الافترنون تي يعني الشاي الرئيسي في كل الأسر في بريطانيا لازم ياخذونه ولا عادي حسب رغبة الشخص؟
Yes, but there's a further variation just to confuse people. If you go to Scotland, they will have what they call high tea, which will typically be at 5:30, 6 o'clock, and that will be a mixture of afternoon tea, which normally we would have at about 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and supper and an evening meal. So they might have all the things, the cakes, the sweets with their afternoon tea, but they might also have some fish or some beef at that time. So there are variations across the country, but everywhere in Britain people will drink tea.
نعم. طيب سعادة السفير، كلمة أخيرة تحب توجهها للشعب البريطاني والجالية المتواجدة في دولة الكويت وأيضا للشعب الكويتي في هذه المناسبة الكريمة؟
Oh, thank you. I would like to say this Ramadan that as a British ambassador in Kuwait, with our strong and historic friendship with Kuwait and all the people of Kuwait, with thousands of Britons living here and many thousands of Kuwaitis living in Britain or regarding Britain as their second home. And in this month of Ramadan, that is a period of reflection, of charity, of sacrifice, compassion, I would like to reach out to all of our Muslim friends and say a very happy Ramadan, Ramadan Kareem, and it's lovely to be here with you as you celebrate this holy month. Shukran.
شكرا لوقتك. مشاهدينا نشوفكم في حلقة قادمة من الطبق الدبلوماسي وسفارة أخرى.